Hi folks, welcome to this video on ethnic minorities. This is one of the barriers topics. So like we've said before in previous videos, they're going to talk about a sector of society that doesn't take part in as much sport as other sectors of society. And one of these groups, these tag groups, are ethnic minorities. So what we're going to look at here in this very brief video are the common barriers to participation for ethnic minority groups. And what we've got here are a few little little pictures, that will hopefully illustrate and give us a bit of detailed knowledge of these common barriers. Now, the picture of Suarez and Evra is a prominent example in recent years of racism or racial discrimination. And the thing is, we always think of racism coming from the crowd, and largely it does come from the crowd, unfortunately. But here's an example of it happening between players, which is a terrible thing. But that can be a barrier. Why would anybody want to put themselves in an environment where they're subject to racism? So there's a common barrier for ethnic minorities. If we come down to these two pictures here, what you've got, football versus, a motorboard, what is that illustrating? Well, sometimes some groups have a lack of parental support. The reason being, in many cultures, sport isn't seen high status. Education is more important than sport. And if you've got time to be playing sport, that's time that you should actually be revising and doing extra academic work instead. In the English culture, I'm very careful how I use my language here. In the English culture, going back to the old public school days, because we invented sports and we rationalised recreation, we value sport higher. I'm not saying it's right to, but I'm saying we value sport higher in our culture and society than other cultures and societies do. So it can definitely be seen that a lack of parental support due to an opinion of sport having a low status in some ethnic minority groups is definitely a barrier to participation. So this picture over here is representing potential conflicts with religious observances, such as dress code. Exposing certain body parts, wearing PE kit isn't, possible with some religious observances, but also things like Ramadan. You try doing physical activity when you can't eat or drink during daylight hours. I mean, that's intense, that's tough going. So that can affect participation, it can affect league fixtures and things like that. So there's another barrier to why some ethnic minority groups don't take part in as much sport as other groups. And finally, really, this image here of Hope Powell, former England manager, we've got a lack of role models in coaching, but also in participation roles. Hope Powell was the England women's manager, was then fired and then replaced with a white man. So it's not good for gender, and it's not good for ethnic minority groups at all. So, definitely having fewer coaches and certainly fewer players in certain sorts. Look, there aren't many Asian rugby players, but there's no reason why there shouldn't be. There's no physiological reason, biological reason. There are hardly any white sprinters, okay? But equally, if black people are more physiologically designed to sprint, why aren't there more black swimmers? There seems to be a lack of role models in certain sports that then affects the future generations, and we need to turn that around somehow. So they're the common barriers to why some ethnic minority groups fail to take part in as much physical activity as other groups. Let's have a look at how we can overcome them. So again, we've got some pictures again to illustrate, hopefully, what we can do to increase the participation of ethnic minority groups in physical activity. Well, got to be high on the agenda is anti-racism laws. Ban, as it should be. It just needs to be more vigorously enforced now. Ban any racist act that is seen or heard. Make sure it doesn't happen again. Make sure people are watching it on TV thinking that is acceptable behaviour. Also, support shown by that picture. More media coverage. Equal viewing of black and white players and Asian players in all these sports to increase the number of role models that are out there. So coming down to the bottom here, more school clubs and club links, okay? So make it part of the curriculum more. If there is an issue in the family in terms of, you shouldn't be doing physical activity, let's get it more involved in schools, okay? Within that, let's also do this. Let's increase the variety of activities that we're doing. And, seeing as we're on this picture, let's relax the kit and clothing rules. Let's not be too fussed up on, are you wearing shorts? Are you wearing gear that you can safely do and enjoy physical activity in? Simple as that. That's what we need to, that's how it needs to be our attitude. So like these young ladies over here, raise their expectations. Get them enjoying it. It's good to do this, it's healthy to do this, and you can do it as well. Be part of the team. Get yourself numbered and logoed up and labelled up and part of the school club or something like that. So it's important that we raise the expectations of many people as well. And also linked into that image, specific gender only activities, and I've spelled activities wrong, do apologise. That's better. I don't know what an activity is, but there we go, activities, that makes much more sense. So, if there is an issue with women exposing certain body parts to men due to religious observances and things like that, well, let's get gender specific classes on, okay, so that there isn't an issue there anymore. And finally, linked to this image here, avoid stacking. Now, for those of you unfamiliar what stacking is, it's sadly a thing that took place largely in US sports, but I dare say it's occurred elsewhere as well. It's where you stack certain ethnic groups into certain positions. Okay, the old stereotype that black people are faster and stronger, but quite incorrectly, white people are more about brains than brawn. So what used to happen in this sport, American football, was when white people joined a team, they were considered to be potential quarterbacks. Whereas when black people joined the team, they weren't even in the picture for that. They were considered for tackling and running positions as well. So you were stacked into certain positions based on your ethnic background. So we want to do it. That's what led to a lack of role models in certain sports. Oh, you're this colour, so you should do that. You're this colour, so you should do that. So we need to avoid stacking. Cam Newton, picture this quarterback here. He's thankfully a much more common sight in the NFL now. It's quite common to see black quarterbacks now. Where go back 20 years, certainly 30 years, it was practically unheard of. So we need to avoid stacking so we can increase the number of role models that young children have, that all people from all ethnic backgrounds can do any sport they want to do. Well, with all that, we could get the old discuss question, discuss whether these methods are working, discuss whether solutions to overcome discrimination in sport for people from an ethnic minority background have led to an overall increase in their participation. What you do is you take what we've just done over those last two slides and put them together and compare them against each other. So, for an example, we could say on one half of the discussion, no, there is still a lack of role models in certain sports. The counter-argument to that would be, however, stacking is far less common and is giving more children more role models in more sports. So, you could say there are fewer... the lack of role models due to less media coverage of certain ethnic minorities in certain sports. However, it is increasing as well. So there are always things, what we need to do is relax kit laws, because religious observances can be a barrier, but by relaxing the kit laws, which is taking place and will take place further, I'm sure, that will increase participation and is increasing participation. So you've just got to take one from each of those two slides at the start, and that forms the basis of your discussion. When a question comes up on discussion, key point, check the marks available. 6 mark answer, you've got to give 3 and 3. 3 arguments for, 3 arguments against. 5 marker, 3 arguments for, 2 against. Or 3 against and 2 for. It doesn't matter, but try and give an even split. Okay? Hope you found this video useful, folks.